There we go. Good evening. How you doing? Don't I look nice and pasty with that light? There we go. I do have a little bit of colour to me. How you doing? Hope you're all well. So who in the UK got blown away the other night then? If you've been following me for quite a while, you'll know that I used to do my airbrush videos in a shed, and there's not a lot left of the roof. The poor shedio is dead, unfortunately. Well, it's been dead for a while. A huge chunk of tree fell through the roof, made a big hole, and now that storm, whatever it was called, has peeled the roof off. Time for a new one. So if anybody wants to buy me a nice workshop for the garden, that'd be great. Right, so how we doing? What we got? Good evening, Brian. SD card man here. Got my 2 beers. Save the JD for later. Yeah, I just sniff a JD and I'm completely drunk, mate. It doesn't take a lot these days. So let's go to the painting. Show you what I've been up to, which isn't a lot. So last stream, let's get a better angle, like that. So last stream we played with this. We sorted out that bit of the wing, and before the stream I sorted out her face a bit. So in this one I am completely unprepared as usual. I don't even have my paint mixed up in the airbrush yet, but we need to put a shadow across this shoulder, because obviously the light's coming from there, so there would be a shadow going across her hair a bit, although it's kind of got a dark line there already, so I might leave that. But this shadow needs to have some darkness in it because this wing is coming round the front like so. So first job would be to mix up some paint in my airbrush, which hopefully will be alright because I haven't even had time to clean it. So we shall see if it's okay or not. There'll be paint in the airbrush still. Not a lot, but hey ho. Let's see how it goes. So for this I am using Createx Illustration Black again, because I've ran out of my Trident. And once again I'm going to be drastically over reduced, because that's the way I roll. So 1 or 2. Let's go for 1 and see what happens. So we're doing a whole entire... Actually no, let's live dangerously. Let's use 2 drops of paint. Fly by the seat of my pants. So 2 drops of that with 4 drops of the illustration reducer. One, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And then all the rest, I don't know if you can pick that up. There's not a lot of paint in there, but all the rest I just fill up with water. Grab Mr. Air Hose. He says, without trashing the place. Because I'm good at that. Stick my thumb over there and give it a shake. What did you decide on, Hellgirl or black and white? Do you know what? Most people seem to like black and white, mate. So I think I'm going to stick with that. I'm very, very tempted to do Hellgirl. I do quite like the idea of that, of putting a little forked tail coming up behind her ear and over there, and doing her skin like a tone of red, a bit like Hellboy. But most people seem to like black and white, so I'm going to stick with that, I think. I might do a digital edit on it and do a Hellgirl version, a little variant, just Photoshop it, but the actual painting itself I'm going to keep black and white. In true me style, I've got paint all over my fingers and all my kitchen rolls gone. Hooray! Alrighty, so we got the paint mixed up. It appears to be flowing alright so far. So let's put a shadow on her shoulder. My sister contacted me last week because she thought something else was going off because of the name. Good evening, Ian. Yeah, I was wondering whether I'd get away with calling it Saturday Squirtin, but sod it. It's Saturday, I'm squirting paint, that'll do. Right, so lights up there, so the shadow won't be in line with the wing, it'll be a little bit lower. Let's darken up the hair just a smidge. Not a lot, just a smidge. Just like that. And then her shoulder would have a shadow going over it, which wouldn't have a harsh edge to it because that's really far away, so it'll just kind of blend out. Be a rebel and go against the grain and go for the Hell Girl. I could still change it to the Hell Girl. I can lay over red inks and stuff to change her skin tone. I was experimenting with them the other day when I put that post up. See if I can get this off of here without trashing the place. I don't know if anyone noticed, but above the picture, no, this ain't gonna go well, is it? Let's undo that, put that back down there, move that off of there, then do that back up there so this doesn't blow away. Don't know if anyone noticed above the picture, I had this. I was experimenting with a whole bunch of different flesh tones, and I really like this one. So if I do the Hell Girl, that's what I'll be doing. So I can lay over this red ink over the top of all this black and white to make her the Hell Girl. So it is still an option. I'm just keeping the airbrush far away from the paper, just to give me a wide spray pattern, so it stays nice and soft. I don't want any harshness to this shadow, so the distance will help me. And also, because I'm really over reduced, I'll have to be careful not to lay it down too heavily. Like here, I've stopped spraying, I'm just using the air on the airbrush to dry that off, because I went a bit heavy there. Now the shadow from there is going to go across there. I don't really want to darken down the highlight on her boob there, because that will get rid of the round look on it. She's a fine looking lady, that she is, mate. Yeah, she's a model I've shot with many times. I've got a feeling she's given up modelling, so I won't link to her modelling profile or anything like that, because she hasn't posted up anything for well over a year, so I think she's jacked it in. Which sadly a lot of models have done over the whole COVID thing. Couldn't really meet up for photo shoots when you weren't allowed to go outside, so a lot of models have thrown in the towel, sadly. Right, so her shoulder now has a shadow on it, which is cool. I haven't gone over the highlight on the boob, so we've still got that round look about it. Just wondering if that needs to go a little bit lower, because it looks a little bit odd being in line with the boob there. Let's go a little lower. Not a lot though. Just like that. Cool beans. Right. I want to give her bigger eyelashes, but I dare not do that with the airbrush. Let's zoom in a minute. Zoom. I want to give her bigger eyelashes, but they are so small. The slightest bit or anything from the airbrush is going to destroy her whole face. So I think I'll crack out the paint brushes for that at some point. You get all those people that are like, oh, it has to be completely airbrushed. And it's like, well, not really. Just use whatever you need to get the finished result, I say. I used to be one of the airbrush purists. Absolutely everything must be airbrushed, but I changed my ways, luckily. Do I want to darken down these bottom bits? Anyway, what you guys been up to all week? Anything exciting? Did anyone manage to actually keep their garden fence? Just darken down those a bit, just so that they look like they're really curled in. I've never watched anything like this for you. Amazing skills, mate. Thanks, Ian. I wing it, mate. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, really. In fact, it's not even my hands. I've got an imposter who can airbrush. This isn't me. Packing parcels and took the dogs for a swim. Ah. Nice. I did a whole 3 tattoos this week. To say things have gone a bit quiet would be an understatement. Everybody's skint at the moment. Yeah, this guy with the tattoos on his fingers, he's a professional airbrusher. I'm just in the background doing the voiceover. Not quite sure what to do in the background on this. I really love a guy called Jay Ferguson's work. Absolutely love that guy's work, and he does a lot of like abstract, watercolory, dribbly, splatter type backgrounds, and I'm kind of feeling that for this one. Although there is an awful lot of real estate up there that has nothing in it, so I'll either trim it down or figure out something to go up there. It's a bit empty, but hey ho. Steve, our fence went AWOL. Yeah, a lot of people's did, unfortunately. B&Q must be selling them like crazy. There must be a shortage of fence panels at the moment, I should imagine. Oh, you didn't get the wind in? Ah. You got all the rain though, didn't you, up there? We had hardly rain. It was weird. It was like a beautiful sunny day, but the wind just knocked you clean off your feet. We got away with no damage, thankfully. I'm building a wooden brass radio controlled Bismarck battleship. Oh, nice one, mate. That'll be nice. I got a few projects on the go. Hold on, let's switch camera. Hello. You can see her just behind me. It's all reversed there. I'm printing it, 3D printing a Zatanna figure. She's going to be quite big. So I got that to make. What else have I got going on? I wouldn't mind weathering up my R2 there. What else have I got going on? I've got loads of stuff going on. I've got to remember how to use my hypercube. My big beastie up there. I haven't used it in over a year and I can't remember how to use it. Because I need to print something on my big printer. Currently got the next bit going down there on my resin printer in my little cabinet down there. Got loads going on. At the rain for a few days, the dogs have destroyed the house with mud from the garden. Yeah, we're quite lucky at the moment. Well, I say quite lucky. The people who live in the house at the bottom of my garden are currently building an extension this way towards our house, and the builders have taken it upon themselves to remove the garden fence. Admittedly, the fence does belong to the people who live down there, but they just removed the fence panels, so at the moment my back garden is wide open to the world, and we have to let the dogs out on a lead so they don't leg it. Mia, my little Jack cheese, she's incredibly violent, so she'd probably bite all the builders. And Marshall is a husky, so if he sees something he wants to go for, he'll just go for it and we'll never see him again. So we're letting them out on leads, and they don't hang around in the mud too much, so we've kind of got away with that. Is that a full-size proton pack? Yes. Yes, it is. That's my baby. I 3D printed that sucker. I did make one before out of MDF and fiberglass and stuff, but the kids needed food one day, so I had to sell it. And then I got into 3D printing and printed that baby. I've got the volume turned down at the moment, but yeah, she does all the lights and sounds and stuff, and smoke comes out of the little vent down there when she overheats and all that. RTD2 would look good distressed. Yeah, he would. I reckon he'd look great with a bit of mud around the bottom edge and that lot, just looking a bit battered. He looks a bit too clean. So I'm just knocking back some of these areas, just make them slightly darker here and there. Not too heavy though. Like I mentioned on last stream, the light's coming from up there and her wings are supposed to be white, so this would be very, very bright here. So less is more, as they say on this bit. And I think we're about done and ready to tackle the background, really. Although her neck still bothers me. I mentioned, when was it, last stream before that, her neck just seems too perfectly tubular. It needs something in it. I don't know. This is a good little tip. If ever you want to try something and you're not sure, tracing paper. Obviously it's a little bit cloudy, but you get the kind of idea. So for instance, I'm wondering whether she should have a shadow going up there for like a vein sort of thing. So slap a bit of tracing paper on it, airbrush on that, and you can see what it'll look like, and that makes her look freaking horrible, so we won't do that. There you go, served its purpose. If you can improve the spray gun, what would you do? Ooh. Now there's a question. Do you know what? I think they're pretty damn perfect, to be honest, mate. They're I would probably get a paint lid, a cap to go on here. You can get them for other airbrushes, like my other one here. That has a little lid, free with husky fur as well. So yeah, that could probably do a little lid on it, because I like to swing my arm around when I'm painting. So paint can tend to go everywhere, and maybe have a slightly rounded trigger. I stuck an old skull earring on the trigger of this, and the rose bit hurts my finger, but the dome part of the skull there, I really like the feel of that. So that's probably the only two things I would do: add a dome on the top of the trigger and a paint cup lid. Other than that, I think they're already perfect, to be honest. I think a laser aim would improve it. That'd be cheating, though. Yeah, I think we are about ready for the background. Now, how do I tackle the background? That is the question. So again, get the old tracing paper, although it's not big enough. Tell you what, I know what we can do in true Blue Peter style. Here's one I prepared earlier. Yeah, that was the Hell Girl. I stuck it in my scanner and printed out a couple of copies. There's the Hell Girl one, and that's come out really red on the camera, but it is actually just like a flesh tone. I was mucking about. So we can practice the background on this. Yeah, I could probably 3D print a lid. I think that resin that I use is solvent proof. Not that I use a lot of solvent, I'm mainly water based, but yeah, maybe so. And I suppose I could 3D print a little ball to go on the top of the trigger as well. Right, stop this blowing away, hit it with a dog clip. Right, so let's just wing it. Let's have a play. Evening, Andre. All of my airbrushes have a blob of epoxy on the trigger to help with the grip. Yeah, you could do that, couldn't you? A blob of epoxy, that would work. She was a real person. Thought you imagined her in your head. Could you do that or need a model? I've done plenty of stuff where I've just imagined someone, just invented them. But personally, I do like working from a photo, just because it's the same as working from a reference. Really, your mind will always forget something. You'll always forget some detail, or get the way the light interacts with certain dips and crevices on the face a certain way, or what have you. If you've got a real life photo in front of you, then it's the best reference possible. You can't get it wrong. So yeah, I do like working from photos. Plus, all the models that I've painted so far, they've really liked the fact that I've done a painting with them. Although this lass doesn't know that I'm painting her yet. We haven't spoken quite a while. thanks to COVID and all that malarkey. So how can we take this? My H&S is 10789. 107. I can't remember what my one's got on it. Oh, Ian Campbell just subscribed. Thanks, Ian. What have you got, mate? 10789. I've got 6437. Does it get that? No. Kind of. Yeah. She's an old girl. That's why all the nickels come off. What sort of a texture can I go for? Let's turn the air right down. These things are invaluable. These little valves. Just turn the air right down, and then you can go from having a really nice spray to a really speckled, ugly one. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll give it a go. So I'm just doing like figures of 8 in the air with the air pressure turned down to probably about 1 psi or something. I think it might be a bit heavy for the background, to be honest. It might go a little dark. I might crack out the watercolours for it, I don't know. Not too bad. Maybe a little dark, so it might be worth using a grey rather than the old illustration black. Turn it down even further. Do some random dark spots. Because she's quite dark, I'll leave like a white halo around her. Otherwise, if I bring the darkness down too far close to her, it's just going to look really flat. So when I do it on the actual painting, I'll leave the lighter halo around her. It doesn't look too bad. Love painting the underpaintings with low pressure. It does give a nice texture even on skin. Yes, it does. Yeah, it's a nifty little trick, that, the old speckling with the low air pressure. That's not too bad, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling that. Just looks a bit half-assed. Like I couldn't be bothered. Yeah, not feeling that. Might be worth cracking out the watercolours and maybe masking her off at some point. Crack out the watercolours and get some really nice textures going. That would definitely be better, I think. I don't know whether to do a colour background or not. I've seen people do black and white stuff like this and then have like a crimson background or something. That might look quite cool. Oh, and her belly. That's one thing I forgot to do. Her belly. Bring you down there. Give you all motion sickness. A bit more. I'm not happy with this bit. My mind is telling me I need to put a shadow in here for our other rib. But I don't know if that would then make her belly look really weird. Looks a lot darker than it is in real life on the camera. All this is quite subtle. But I think she needs something just here, just a little shadow. Let's mix some more paint because I've gone and used it all up making that background bit. What time is it? 8:30 already, blimey. So again, 2 drops of paint, 4 drops of the reducer, and the rest of the paint cup is just water. Give that a shake. Okay. So again, I don't want to stuff this up, so we'll bring in the tracing paper again. Yep, we're rolling. So right about there. Yeah, see, she looks a bit skinny if I do that, I think, but it needs something. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe another shadow coming up from there. That's not too bad. That looks alright. So rather than having a shadow from the top up here, I've just put one in coming from that little divot there. It's a technical term, that, a divot. Yeah, I'm going with that. Let's go with that. So I'm just going to put in a little shadow along here. This is where my airbrush spits and ruins everything. Just like that. And this bit looks way too flat as well. Needs to be more curved. But without making it look like she's got a pot belly. Brilliant idea, tracing film first. Yeah, it is a really cool little idea. Like I say, if you put the tracing paper on, it kind of adds this cloudy look over the top, but it gives you the freedom to practice it first to see what it will look like I did with the neck. You know, that wouldn't have looked right, so it let me kind of see what it would look like without actually doing it. A handy little tool, that. Right, this dip in the middle here is a bit dark, so I'm just going to add some more tones to the side of it just to flatten it out a bit. Not too much because it's supposed to be a curve, but Darken down that little bit there a bit. A hip bone there would be a highlight, so I'm not going to go over there. I'm just darkening this bit. Because hip bones stick out. That's a bit better. Needs a bit more shading around the old belly button. Like that. Hopefully you can pick this up on camera. I'm going really, really light. Now, I wonder if it should be darker in this bit here. Maybe a bit. I've got to be careful not to go over her legs though. Is it on camera? Yeah, good. I suppose a clever person would get up the reference photo, but it's on the computer and I need to see what my stream's doing, so I'll have to do it from mind. Which completely contradicts what I said earlier about working from a photo. But I did 90% of it from a photo. I suppose that counts. A bit spitty, so a bit of the old tip dry. Yeah, that looks loads better now. Really good to me. Turn 3D with the shadows. Yeah, I'm happy with that now. That looks better. It just looked too flat before. Just wondering if this leg, you can't see that. Let's move you. Stop you from wobbling so you don't feel sick. Just wondering if this leg should be in shadow a bit as well. If the light's coming from up there, her body is going to be casting a shadow on this leg. Are your children artistic like you? My son, no. He just Xbox. That's all he does, Xbox. If you can't get an Xbox involved, he's not interested in doing it. My daughter, on the other hand, is very artistic. Yeah, she loves drawing the manga type stuff. She loves her manga drawing. But yeah, she's very creative, bless her. And she keeps stealing all my paints and all my coloured pencils and stuff. The amount of times I've gone to get like a coloured pencil or, you know, one of my art supplies and it's missing and she's got it. But I don't mind. Well, not really. But don't tell her that. darkening down the underside of this leg a bit because it was quite bright, and of course it's going to be one of the darkest spots, kind of like the ribs here. They're really dark, so this technically should be about the same sort of darkness. Her body definitely should be casting a shadow on that leg, but I'm not quite sure how to tackle it. Do I mask that off? Take ages masking it off though, and you don't want to watch me cutting out a mask live on stream. Stuff it, let's just go for it. So her hips would be casting a shadow on. It's right the way over there. There would probably be a little bit of light there, so the shadow would probably start about halfway up her leg ish, but it would only be a very slight shadow, I reckon. Now let's go all the way. That looks weird. Let's go all the way down to the ankle. Oh, that. You're too same as mine too. Well, yeah. My boy's 18, and yeah, it's all about the Xbox. That's all he ever does. And my daughter, who has featured in some of my YouTube videos, giggling little blondie, she's now 15, and yeah, she loves her manga drawing, bless her. Hard to believe I'm a parent of a couple of teenagers. That happened really quickly. Right, so I've dusted in a shadow here, but then that's taken away the crispness of that. So I'm going to down the airbrush for a second. If I can get it in its holder without bending the needle. And I'm going to get out a very technical piece of equipment and a razor. I'm just going to gently erase some of that paint that oversprayed. It doesn't get rid of all of it, but it takes a good portion of it off and just brings back that crispness. Beautiful. I've also got some blue tack marks there, which is quite annoying. I'll get the scalpel to them later, get rid of them. Okay. So she now has a shadow going from her body on that leg. We've darkened up that leg. This one needs to be a bit darker. You see the shadow there on the crease is pretty harsh, just like black and then a lighter colour, so we need to smooth that out a bit. Plug this back in without throwing the paint everywhere, like that. to be careful here because that toe obviously is sticking out, so that's going to be catching the light, so we don't want any overspray going over the toe and darkening that down. Then she's going to have a shin bone going down there, so we could do a darker line like that. Like so. Just dust in a little bit in here. There's just a bit too much white there. A little dip in the knee. That's better. So yeah, that knee would be very bright, but you know, you want some suggestion of some sort of texture or crevices and just something going on there, you know, otherwise it will look boring. Also got to come up with something for the bottom. In the photo she was sat on a sheet that was all bobbly like this, kind of like a duvet cover, so I need to come up with something for that. Yeah, we could do that next actually, because that's important. So we'll move that up there. We'll get a couple of dog clips to hold it in place. One there and one there. Dust in some shading at the bottom. It's always good to have a shady bottom. That gets quite confusing with that underneath, doesn't it? Let's dispose of the Hellgirl one. There you go. Thanks. See what's going on. Okay. Why don't you email the image to yourself and use your phone for reference? Do you know what? That's not a bad idea, but I've got one of those phones where the screen turns off all the time, and I can't be bothered to find the setting that keeps it on. I remember that this sheet that I'm doing was white, so it was basically a blown out white on the photo. But we don't want a blown out white one in the painting, because there wouldn't be any fun in that, would there? What, no iPad? Oh no. I'm not a fan of Apple. I've for work I use a Surface Pro 7. That's invaluable, that thing. I love it. But no, I'm not a fan of Apple. Nothing against them, just not my cup of tea. Just lots of little tiny dagger strokes. Let's zoom in so you can see what's going on. A zoom. Move that down a bit. Down a bit more. Come on, camera. There we go. I think I'm going to have to start looking at doing these streams for a couple of hours or something, because we really don't get a lot done in an hour, do we? Time goes by very quickly. Getting the old cramp in the fingers. I'll be on the naughty step having her picture on my phone. My wife is very understanding, mate. And she sat about 20 feet behind me and giggling. Yeah. if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have done the photography I did. She, yeah, she's awesome. And I'm not just saying that because she sat behind me and might throw something at me. Trouble you get into with photography, or I found anyway, getting into photography, you want your images to be popular and noticed and stuff like that, and unless they've got boobs in them, nobody really seemed to take any notice. So I started off by doing the whole fantasy stuff and the cosplay type stuff and all that lot, but quite soon found myself doing like all these topless and nude shoots, and before I knew it, that was pretty much all I was doing. And one day I just looked at my portfolio and thought, you know what, that's not the way I wanted to go. And then I stopped doing photo shoots for years. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the human body is a very pretty thing. I think it's very photogenic. But I just kind of fell into that trap where you're just getting a model and just taking topless pictures of them, and there's no real artistic merit in it. It's just like, oh, here's a pretty girl and look, she's topless, and it's just like, that's not the way I wanted my portfolio to go. So I fell out of love with photography for a long time. And I'm only just getting back into it, but only because I want to shoot my own reference pictures for my paintings. Yeah, sadly, unless they had a pretty girl topless in them, your photos just didn't seem to get any kind of traction. Nobody was taking any notice of them. That might have just been me. I might have just been really rubbish at it. Right, let's zoom out a bit so you can see what's going on. So there we go. You wouldn't want to photograph me nude. Oh, I meant I was topless while I was taking pictures of the models, mate. Yeah, that looks better with the old texture down there. What we got? 8:59. Ooh, blimey. It's nearly time to call it a day on here then. Let my good lady watch some telly. She's normally at work at this time, but she's on holiday today. And she's very kindly agreed to sit there in the peace and quiet while I do my stream. So I'll pop off in a sec, let her watch some telly, let her make a noise again. And then probably off stream I'll continue doing this texture across the bottom, and next time I see ya, we'll probably tackle the background, or I might do it off stream, I don't know. I don't know whether to start painting my 3D prints on stream. I don't know if that's something that people would be interested in seeing. It will certainly be tricky to get the right camera angles because it's a 3D thing. For example, if I can grab it, you know, if I'm painting a 3D figure and you know, I'm painting a way you might not be able to pick it up on camera. If I was painting under the arm or whatever, I can see it, but you can't, so I'll have to remember to keep turning it round and painting it at funny angles and that lot. So I don't know how practical something like that would be. I don't even know if you guys would be interested in seeing me paint an actual 3D thing, but if not, so I've got this that I want to paint next. But I want to play with my flesh tones. This is going to be full colour, and I'm thinking like some really dark gothic-y looking flesh tones and a bluey green background on it. It's quite dark, a nice dark vignette as well. So the next thing we could do would be either that, starting that Zatanna 3D print, or we could start on that. I don't know, let me know what you think. What time we got? 9:02, right. So, right one, check out. Hi to the missus, catch you there. Take care, Brian. See you later, buddy. And yeah, on that note, I guess it's about time for me to go too. So, yeah, like I say, I'm going to carry on with the texture on that off stream. Follow me on social media. I'm sure I will put pictures up of it as I go along. So thanks for watching. You all take care out there, and I will be back next Saturday squirting some paint on.